Episode 7 The Dragon and the Wolf Update, August 22, 2017. According Watchers on the Wall, Episode 7 is titled The Dragon and the Wolf. No confirmation from HBO yet. From /u/swordofthevening, a user on Reddit. We start in King's Landing, where we are in the Dragon Pit where not everyone who was in the north is present. Friki says Dany will bring the Unsullied and Dothraki in case that Cersei has a trap for her and places her armies outside King's Landing's doors ready in case of a trap. Jaime and Bronn oversee KL's defenses. They see all of Dany's armies outside KL doors and admire it. Tyrion and the other arrive at KL via ship where Friki says Jon asks how many people live in KL. Foreshadowing. Once docked, Tyrion, Jon, Jorah, Dany, Davos, Theon, the Hound, who is the one with the Wight in a cage, as well as Dany's Dothraki blood riders are awaited by Bronn when they arrive. Friki also mentions that Brienne has already arrived. Brienne and the Hound see each other and Brienne is amazed that the Hound is somehow alive. They talk about Arya. One of the things said is when the Hound asks her if she shouldn't be taking care of Arya, and Brienne replies that the only person needing protecting is the one who gets in her, Arya's, way, and this makes the Hound smile, and say that he doesn't plan to be the one to do that. Brienne knows Arya is a great fighter after they spar in Winterfell earlier this season. Another reunion is Tyrion and Pod. Podrick still admires Tyrion and loves him and even says that to him Tyrion is still his lord. When they arrive at the Dragon Pit, which Friki says is a giant amphitheater, and in this amphitheater are 3 large tents, where the major authorities will sit, Cersei, Jon, Euron, etc. At this time Friki says everyone starts to arrive, doesn't say who everyone actually is, people, soldiers or other lords, which Tyrion feels like it could be a trap and looks around. Cersei arrives with Euron, the mountain. Friki says no Clegane bull this episode, but that they do see each other and that the Hound gives him the "one day I will finish you off" fuuuuuuuhhh, but that's all that happens between them this season. And Qyburn and they sit. The Hound brings the cage that houses the Wight to the middle of the amphitheater. This is when Cersei asks Tyrion where Dany is. Dany isn't present at this time with the rest of the gang, which is when Dany arrives on top of Drogon and with Rhaegal, R.I.P Viserion, which everyone is amazed, even Cersei and Euron. But then Cersei wonders where the third dragon is, but the person most amazed is Euron by Drogon's arrival. Tyrion then explains what this reunion is about. Friki side notes another reunion is between Theon and Euron, which is when Euron challenges Theon if he's ever going to do anything. If he plans on ever rescuing Yara, he says he will touch on it later. Jon then tries to explain that the Great Other is real and that they need to unite to come out victorious, to which Cersei calls bullshit on. But then the Hound opens the Wight's cage and the Wight comes out like a wild beast towards Cersei, but the Hound has him chained up and isn't able to reach her. Cersei is amazed and afraid. This is when the Hound starts to demonstrate how a Wight cannot be killed by just chopping it up bits by bits, since it continues to move even when the Hound cuts it up. But then Jon yells out that there are only 2 ways to kill a Wight. The first, fire. So they set fire to one of the Wight's arms and the arm stops moving and the Wight finally displays pain. And the second is dragon glass, to which Jon uses to stab the Wight and the Wight dies. Friki doesn't say if the Wight shatters like WW or if they just drop dead. This is the proof that everyone needed to come together in order to survive the long night. This is when Jon Snow's trailer speech about the long night is coming. Euron pretends to be afraid. Whether we learn of his deception right away is not mentioned, but most likely not, since Friki mentions something about this later. Euron asks how many of these creatures are there, to which Jon says hundreds of thousands. Then Euron asks, well, can they swim? And Jon responds no, so Euron says, well, I'm going back to Pike, and leaves, and everyone else can pretty much go fuck themselves. Cersei and Dany see the danger together, but Cersei says once the long night is over she must still be queen and offers J.S. to be the warden of the north, but Jon then swears an oath to Dany and bends the knee, literally, and says he can only serve one queen and that queen is Daenerys Targaryen. Cersei is surprised that a northern savage has said this. And for the second time Jon has bent the knee and his queen is Dany. After this Cersei is pissed, leaves and is unwilling to collaborate because she is unwilling to bend the knee to Dany. Brienne tries to convince Jaime to change Cersei's mind, Jaime says he admires her loyalty to the Starks, which is when Browlin say fuck loyalty. It's about survival. Jaime has seen all this and believes in the long night and will do his best. Now that Tyrion, Dany and Jon have seen Cersei's negative response, it means they won't have some of the southern armies as support in the north. Tyrion heads to the Red Keep with the mountain behind him. Tyrion and Cersei have a conversation on how she blames him for all the Lannisters have gone through, how he killed their mother and father, blah blah blah. He doesn't say what else Cersei blames him for, and Tyrion says there was nothing he could do and that Tywin just wanted him dead so he had to kill him instead. Sure. Then Tyrion says, if I'm so evil, why don't you order the mountain to kill me? Cersei doesn't give a command because she's interested in what he will say next. Friki then says this is for all of us in the Freefolk subreddit, asking him about Cersei's pregnancy. He goes on to say that the leaks say she will have a miscarriage or that Qyburn diagnoses her pregnancy, but that Tyrion finds out she's pregnant when Tyrion decides drinks wine and Cersei doesn't. Honestly, I would honestly think I just got poisoned, but to each her own. So he calls her out saying she doesn't drink because she's pregnant. Cersei doesn't admit this nor does she deny it, but her facial expressions say damn, I'm exposed, and that's it regarding her pregnancy. Tyrion then heads out with Cersei to meet the rest of the people that were in the Dragon Pit, and Cersei tells them that after speaking to Tyrion she will send troops north to help against the WW. Tyrion and Dany talk about how Dany tells Jon that she can't have children, that the dragons are her children. Jon doesn't care if she can't have kids. This is all in the Dragon Pit and in KL. Winterfell is next, starting off with Sansa and Littlefinger. Friki talks about how LF has been trying to get in Sansa's head this whole season, but he doesn't give up, and LF tells Sansa that Arya is dangerous, that why would she chose to come back to Winterfell now, what Arya will do with the letter, try to frame Sansa or something. This is LF's plan to tear the Stark sisters apart. Dragonstone is next, and this is after they leave KL via ships. No boat sex yet. Dany is in the war room where they are organizing the defense of the north. Where will the Unsullied go? The Dothraki, the Northmen, the Southerners, so on and so forth. Friki goes on to say that Jorah knows a lot about strategies and about the strategies of the Targaryen kings, says they need a defensive strategy, not a strategy used to conquer, since that's not what they're doing. Theon and Jon speak about the Starks and the Greyjoys and how it used to be when they grew up together. Jon asks if he will come with them to the north, which Theon says no because he must rescue Yara first. Jon tells him he should and wishes him luck. Theon, now knowing Yara is alive after Euron challenges him to come get her at the Dragon Pit, goes and tries to rally the remaining Ironborn left in Dragonstone to come with him to rescue Yara. This is when the fight between the leader of those Iron and Theon takes place. Friki says the Ironborn kicks him in the nuts a few times but it doesn't do anything. The Ironborn leader gives Theon a pretty bad ass kicking, but then Theon gets his shit together, after being taunted and ridiculed by the Ironborn, and beats him. They form a rescue party and head out to save Yara. Back to Winterfell, a scene long coming. Sansa gathers all the northern bannermen and the Vale leaders. Here, when all the lords are present, Sansa calls on Arya to come forward, which is when Arya starts to worry that this is her last day alive. Sansa then says it's time to judge the great treacheries and betrayals that have been done to the north, and we will judge the person responsible for them. She looks straight at Arya. Sansa then says, you need to tell me how many times you have betrayed the north. Arya can't believe her sister is saying this to her. Sansa says it again, you need to tell me how many times you have betrayed the north. Lord Baelish, fuuuuuuuhhh. At this moment Sansa starts to name all his treacheries. You killed Alyssa Arryn. Talks about the letter from Jon Arryn about Cersei and Jaime's bastards, which LF was also involved in his murder. This is also when she pulls out the cat's paw dagger and they ask him if he recognized the dagger, which LF said belonged to Tyrion, but that they knew it was his. Next to Sansa is Bran, who is the one that has told her all these things. One can only assume there is more. Then Bran says, you once told my father I told you not to trust me. First season. LF is shocked when he hears this. Then Sansa tells all the lords present how he sold her to the Boltons. LF realizes he's pretty much fucked, but he tries to LF his way out by feeding them lies and asking for help from Jon Royce, Vale guy with the oversized armor. and others, and Friki says that LF ends up looking pretty pathetic now that he knows he's pretty much dead. In the end, Sansa tells LF Lord Baelish, "Thank you for all your lessons," and after she tells him that Arya comes behind him and cut his throat, LF starts to choke in his own blood and falls to the ground holding his throat and dies. Back to King's Landing. Jaime and Cersei have a conversation about the upcoming war. Jaime doesn't know that Cersei has no intention on sending her army north and wants the WW to kill the northern armies and their allies. Jaime is looking at a map of the north and starting to gather the Lannister armies to get ready to go north when Cersei asks him what he's doing, to which Jaime says he's getting ready to go north with the army, which Cersei saying nah, they have dragons and troops, they can handle it. Friki says she's pulling a Tywin when she tells him that she has obtained an agreement with Euron when he pretended to be a coward and said he would go back to Pike. But instead he was going to travel to Essos to hire the Golden Company, doesn't mention with what money. This is Friki's video on the Golden Company. What she plans to do with them we don't know just yet. This is when Jaime is disgusted by Cersei and they continue to argue, to which is when we see the Mountain draw his sword in case things between Jaime and Cersei get ugly. Seen from the trailer. After this ordeal, Jaime leaves Cersei. Finally, we see Jaime leaving the city and on his way out. Friki doesn't mention whether he had the leftover Lannister army with him. He stops to fix his golden hand and looks back to the Red Keep, which is when the first snowflakes begin to fall on KL. Back to Winterfell. Jon's origin. Bran is visited by Sam, who Bran recognizes, asks what he is doing there, and Sam tells him he needs to see JS. Bran says he also needs to tell him a lot. Sam asks Bran what he needs to tell JS, to which Bran says that Jon isn't Ned's bastard but Lyanna's and Rhaegar's son, and that he was born in Dorne, and that his name isn't Jon Snow but Jon Sand. But Sam tells Bran that he is not a Sand. That he has seen it in record that Rhaegar had his marriage with Elia annulled and married Lyanna, which shocks Bran. Sam then tells Bran that if he can see into the future and past that he should go see for himself. Which Bran then does, which is the wedding between Rhaegar and Lyanna in a forest, not in front of a weirwood. Friki says the same way Robb and Talisa were wed. As he sees this, he realizes that Robert's rebellion was all based on a lie, because Robert was pissed and said that Lyanna was kidnapped. Friki doesn't state that Robert lied on purpose to get the other lords to back him. As this flashback is happening, we are switching back and forth between Rhaegar with Lyanna and Jon and Dany on the boat. R.I.P. As the romantic scene between Rhaegar and Lyanna happen, we see Jon and Dany's romantic scene. Jon and Dany enter a cabin together, no words are being spoken, in which they begins to take each other's clothes off and have, as Friki said, boat sex. Girl in the background woo. No specific sexual positions or how long our boy JS lasted were mentioned. Tyrion is the only one who notices that they are having boat sex. As the boat sex intensifies, we see the scene where Lyanna is in the Tower of Joy, where she tells Ned that the baby's name is Aegon Targaryen. Friki then brings out a shirt that shows Jon Snow's picture with the word Aegon underneath it. Bran then says Aegon Targaryen is the legitimate heir to the Iron Throne. After Arya and Sansa finally make up and reconcile, Arya tells Sansa she's the strongest woman she has ever met, and Sansa tells her that she could have never achieved the things Arya has, and they make up. Lastly is the Wall. We see these events through the eyes of Bran, who wargs into a bunch of crows, and we are brought to Eastwatch when Tormund and Beric are at. We see the army of the dead with the blizzard following them like in episode 1 outside the Wall, and Tormund and Beric are shocked as they see this when out of nowhere the Night King flies in on Viserion. Viserion does flybys attacking the Wall when he then focuses on one part of the Wall and starts melting it, and as this happens the Wall starts to break apart in a V shape. The Wall is open to the Great Other, and the episode ends with the NK flying through the Wall on Viserion. Friki says that the Wall is breached by fire, not by any mark of Bran or anything. Q&A. Q. Why didn't they burn Viserion's body after he dies? A. He had fallen in the lake and sank. No way of burning it. Q. When will Season 8 spoilers come out? A. There's one in Episode 6, Easter egg style. He doesn't mention it. Q. Lady Stoneheart? A. Nope. Q. Who will wield the Valyrian steel swords? A. Not sure, but they will be spread out. Q. Why name Jon Aegon if he had a son named Aegon already? A. Rhaegar wanted the prince that was promised to be named Aegon, so he named both of his sons Aegon. Friki will elaborate about this in the future. Q. What happened to Tormund? A. He doesn't die, but we see him and Beric running for their lives. Q. Do the Night's Watch die? A. No, they are at Castle Black. The wildlings were at Eastwatch. Doesn't mention if they died. Q. Do you think the Dothraki archer will have dragon-glass-tipped arrows? A. Yes, they are some of the best archers. Q. Will more dragons die? A. At least not in this season. Q. Will we see Rhaegar? A. Yes, the actor looks a lot like Viserys, Dany's brother. Doesn't name the actor. Q. Boat sex? A. Yes. Q. How does the Greyjoy storyline end? A. Theon gathers the remaining Ironborn and Dragonstone and try to save her. Q. Benjen dead? A. Yup. Q. Does Arya stay in the north? A. For now, yes. Q. Does Jaime try to kill Cersei? A. No. If anything, Cersei almost gets Jaime killed via the mountain. Q. Does Cersei betray Jon? A. Yes, she lies to him about the troops. Q. Does Cersei die? A. Not this season. Q. Do you think the Starks will make it to the end of the show? A. Some. There must always be a Stark in Winterfell. Q. Where would you place this season when compared to others? A. In third place. Q. Any dialogue before boat sex? A. None. Jon knocks on Dany's door and they go at it. Q. Does Qyburn die? A. No. Q. Does Bran's mark have anything to do with the wall coming down? A. None. The wall comes down because of Viserion. Q. Wouldn't Bran want to be the Lord, King of Winterfell? A. No. Bran makes it clear that he is the three-eyed raven and that's it. Q. Did Rhaegar know about the Long Night? A. Yes, most did but not many believed it. Rhaegar wanted one of his sons named Aegon to be the Azor Ahai. Q. Will Syrio Forel come back? A. No. Q. Will Dany die? A. No. Maybe next season but it's not known. Q. Does Sansa die? A. No. Q. LF alive? A. No. He dead. Q. Will there be an election to see who will be king or queen? A. Nope. Q. When will Theon rescue Yara? A. Season 8. Q. Any battles in episode 7? A. No. But there is a point where you will think there is. Q. Can Jon get Dany get pregnant? A. No. Dany tells Jon this episode she can't have kids. Q. Does Benjen say anything to Jon? A. No. Benjen just recus him and that's it. Q. Will Ghost be on season 7? A. No. Q. Does Jon find out he's a Targaryen? A. No. He'll find out in season 8 via Bran. Q. How will the Targaryen line continue if Dany can't have kids? A. Maybe Jon gets another wife. What about the Starks? Q. Who would you rather die, Jon, Dany or Tyrion? A. Jon. Q. Who will kill the Mountain? A. This season, no one, but it will be the Hound. Q. Gendry and Arya reunion? A. Not this season. Q. Will Theon finally redeem himself? A. In the end, yes. Q. Who is Azor Ahai? A. After this episode, diff Jon. Q. Who is the Valkyr? A. In Friki's opinion, Tyrion or Arya. Q. Why isn't there a battle in episode 7? A. The big setup for season 8. Q. Will they reforge ice? A. Not for now, 2 swords are better than 1. Q. So, Jaime isn't the Valkyr? A. He could but Friki doesn't think so. Q. Is Dany sterile who would rule after? A. We don't know yet. Q. Will Sansa remarry? A. Possibly. Q. Can Jon control the dragons? A. Not control but Drogon like him very much. That must mean something. Q. Favorite villain? A. Ramsay for sure. Q. Tyrion the King of Westeros? A. That'd be interesting. Q. Chris Alex hi to Free Folk. A. Free Folk. Q. What happened to Euron? A. He says he's going to Pike but he will go hire the Golden Company. Friki ends the stream since he's going to dinner with the girl in the background. Dinner sex. He also mentions there will be another live stream for Q&A this Sunday. This diff took more than an hour. Thank you for your patience. I love the free folk.